see there is it's a very like homogenous society.
Do we understand what that means?
No.
So what he's saying is that if you go to Poland, who are you going to meet in Poland?
White people.
Polish people, right? Okay, so that means it's homogenous. It's very similar.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like anti-LGBTQ laws and stuff, like banning gay people and stuff. So yeah.
Might happen if you're that close to Russia. Okay. Why do you think some people choose to settle in Alberta? What's so good about Alberta? What?
Nothing.
Beef? Honestly, southern Alberta, they have the biggest cattle processing factories, I guess we can call them, and a lot of immigrants.
What's really here to do in Alberta though?
Unless I'm small.
A lot of things.
The sports here are great.
We got a hand up over here, thank you. Okay. Oil and gas, it's a big reason. So, as was mentioned, a lot of, let's say, potentially low-skilled workers, they might go to southern Alberta. There's a particular city, my cousin lived there for a while. No, southern Alberta. Brooks. Does anyone know in Brooks, there's like a giant meat processing plant, which was also like they called it a COVID massive spreader, super spreader.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Brooks, Alberta, southern Alberta, they have a meat processing plant. A lot of workers might go there. A lot of workers might go north, so they might do internal migration in Canada. People from the Maritimes will come fly into Fort McMurray, they'll work oil and gas. Okay. In Calgary, people might go there because it's close to the mountains.
I don't like Calgary.
They might go there to work more office jobs, so oil and gas jobs in Calgary might look more like you're wearing a suit and tie. Why do you think people live in Edmonton and Leduc? How many of you moved into Leduc? Why did your family move here?
Well,
Where did you live before?
Edmonton, but like we didn't like Edmonton because we had to move there from Saskatchewan.
You went from Saskatchewan to Edmonton. You didn't like that. Wow.
Yeah.
So you came to Leduc.
Yeah, because I moved to Edmonton when I was like 7, and then I moved to Leduc when I was like 8.
Saskatchewan is not
You had your hand up as well. Do you want to share? Well,
Wait, me?
yeah. Did you
Oh
have your
yeah,
hand up?
I live in Saskatchewan and then I moved to Leduc.
Did you two know each other in Saskatchewan?
No.
I lived in a really
There's
small
only like
town.
40 people in Saskatchewan.
Sounds like
Saskatchewan is boring.
you like that
Saskatchewan
flat
is the
little
dry
no
spot.
hills.
I
So
love it.
You like that? You
your
know the
family, let's focus back here. Your family moved from Saskatchewan
drive? Well,
to
from Jamaica
Leduc.
to Saskatchewan to Leduc.
Jamaica, Saskatchewan to Leduc.
I don't know why they picked Leduc though. Leduc's like the most horrible town I've ever been.
Why Leduc? Yeah.
Who knows? Ask them, not me.
You ask your mom and dad.
I was just on the road.
Let's see. Let's hear it here.
My dad moved here from Saskatchewan because
Everyone's from Saskatchewan.
yeah.
Saskatchewan's boring.
Yeah,
You're
that
boring.
It's
he
so
said
fun.
that was a
It's
big
too
thing,
fun.
but also because he came here for university.
Sure. That'd be awesome.
Saskatchewan is
Okay, your family moved from Saskatchewan, then what?
my dad
Racket thing.
came here for university, and that's how he met my mom.
Okay, your dad came here from Saskatchewan to go for university, so better education, perhaps. Not that Saskatchewan has a terrible education. He met your mom here and then he stayed. Okay. You moved here a year and a half ago. Do you miss Calgary?
Yeah.
Why?
Because like the mountains. I was born in Alberta, but I tend to move to Newfoundland and back and stay there for a year and come back. But then I moved like meet places everywhere. I go to Edmonton, I go to Spruce Grove, I go to Leduc. Leduc's like recent, but I've been here before, so I could go on an airplane. And I'm also leaving all of you again.
When?
The 12th.
How long?
Yay!
Let's hear back there, back corner.
Forever.
My parents moved here from Saskatchewan. Just for like.
Everybody's from Saskatchewan. Holy.
Well, like,
Gosh darn it.
better like to walk because it's just small towns
Oh,
there.
sure.
Saskatchewan is smaller, maybe it's more rural. They have places in Saskatchewan named Moose Jaw who would want to live there, right? And your parents came here for better job opportunities. Do you want to share?
We came from Nova
Nova
Scotia.
Scotia, okay, Maritime. Okay, very standard, yeah, okay.
People get paid so much to work on like
Let's-
oil rigs.
Let's hear you.
I came from New Brunswick,
New Brunswick, Maritimes.
and then
Did your family also oil and gas?
no, I'm not gonna explain why, but we went from New Brunswick to my grandparents' house in Wisconsin.
Okay, task of this.
A great place. So I lived in Edmonton when I was like little, and then we went here, and then we went to like Vermilion, but that
Vermilion, that's in Alberta.
it's a very very small town. And there's only about like I want to say 1,000 people, and
There are high schools in Edmonton with more students than that.
they weren't very kind people. So we like came back here. So yeah.
All right, thank you for sharing that. So this chapter is all about immigration. It's kind of interesting to learn that obviously anyone who isn't Indigenous is going to be a migrant to this country. It's just some of us
Much farther than.
arrived here sometime, and some of us were born here, and some of us, our parents and grandparents, and a couple generations back were born here. But you know, unless you're Indigenous, you are an immigrant of some type. We're just gonna quickly go through this Canada-Quebec Accord, and I think we'll wrap it up from there. Hopefully this remote works on this crazy slide. Oh, it does, wonderful. So Quebec, otherwise known as
The French place.
Francophones. Okay, as we learned in our last chapter, chapter 4, the Francophones have, you know, collective rights. They have their own special treatment in our charter. Does anyone remember why? Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
They're part of the founding groups.
They're part of one of the founding groups of Canada, and so they have a little bit more protections in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms than other groups. Okay, for those of you who don't know, the flag on the left is Quebec's flag. Okay, and so this Quebec-Canada Accord is all about migration into Canada, but particularly into Quebec. So an accord is a formal agreement. This is probably in your keywords, which I'll give you tomorrow. It concerns immigration issues between the federal government of Canada and the province of Quebec. Okay, so that's what the Quebec-Canada Accord is.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Quebec has the exclusive responsibility of choosing immigrants and refugees that wish to relocate to the province. So Quebec has special privilege to say who does and doesn't come and migrate there. What do you think they might be looking for? Raise your hand.
French people.
French-speaking people, right? Do you think they're looking for anything else other than that? Probably not. Put your hand up.
Why are we learning about Quebec when Quebec doesn't even want to be a part of
Well, that's not bad.
The
You know,
issue
it's like an unruly child. Just because they don't want to eat dinner doesn't mean you let them starve.
Well,
right?
You're gonna eat the dinner we give
Do
you.
you think Quebec is looking for anything other than French-speaking people?
It could look for like other people maybe.
Let's raise our hand. Thank you very much. Do you think that's their primary and only concern, people who speak French?
yeah.
Likely, right? Quebec can select applicants that will benefit the province. This is relatively true of all provinces though, but you know, Quebec has its additional policies and laws as well. Okay. And as already mentioned, Quebec seeks immigrants that speak French. Why are they so concerned about French-speaking
It's part of their culture.
speakers back there? You got a hand up.
to like keep their like
Preserve their
culture and identity.
Perhaps, right? I mean, they might feel a type of way about immigrants coming in who aren't part of that Quebecois culture. More specifically, they're trying to preserve their, you said at the end? Language, right? French-speaking language. Okay. Every year, on average, 75% of French-speaking immigrants that come to. What are you doing over there? Let's stop making weird noises. Okay. Every year, on average, 75% of French-speaking immigrants that come to Canada settle in Quebec. Okay. Where do you think the other 25% might go? What's the only?
Here.
Paris.
New Brunswick. Why New Brunswick? What did you say?
Because it's also French.
Yeah, New Brunswick is the only province that's actually bilingual.
Oh, yeah.
So perhaps they'll go to New Brunswick and have access to the French language a little bit more easily than they might in Alberta. Okay. Once again, there's a little Quebec flag. The Accord requires immigrants that settle in Quebec to send their children to French language schools. This is again protected under the Charter rights, their language education rights. I believe that's section 35, which might have been in your test. Okay, and that is a little summary of the Quebec Accords.